Hello, my sunnies. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to share messages you may need to hear right now. For this reading, we'll be taking a look at key messages for you for August. These will be general messages, so a reminder to please use your discernment, take what resonates with you, and leave behind what doesn't. To help you decide which group to pick, there are 3 crystals for each group. I'll show you them up close one by one. For group 1, we have blue calcite. For group 2, we have the sunstone. And for group 3, we have the amethyst crystal. Alright, so these are your 3 groups. Please press pause if you need to. Take all the time you need to select your group, and feel free to choose more than one. I'll see you at your reading. Hi group 1s, welcome to your reading. Let's start by checking in on the overall energy for August with these cards that came through from a deck I already shuffled. Then we'll get into the tarot deck and see what comes out for you. The message on this card says, our destinations might be different, but we can enjoy the same journey. The first thing that's really jumping out at me with this card is the 2 people in the car. The driver looks very focused and determined, like they know where they're going and they're very focused on getting there. But then you have the passenger who looks much more relaxed, almost like they're sleeping. And I think there could be something in that for you. You may be moving towards something with a very clear sense of direction, while someone else around you is taking a much more relaxed approach. Or maybe you're the passenger in this situation. You're not necessarily the one in control of where things are going, but you're along for the ride and you're able to relax more. I think it's a reminder that you don't necessarily have to be heading toward the exact same place as someone else to still share something meaningful with them. You and the other person might have different goals, different timelines, or even different ideas about where your lives are going, but that doesn't mean you can't enjoy the time you have together right now. It could also be about not comparing your journey to someone else's. Maybe someone seems to be moving much faster than you, or they seem to have a very clear idea of where they're going, and you might feel like you're taking a completely different route. But different doesn't necessarily mean wrong. You can still enjoy the journey you're on, and you can still have meaningful connections with people whose path looks very different from yours. I also noticed the driver is sitting on the right side of the car, so I don't know, maybe some of you are going to Europe, or maybe there's some connection to driving on the other side of the road or traveling somewhere where things are a little different from what you're used to. Take that if it means something to you. And I'm also thinking about the movie When Harry Met Sally. I don't know why that popped in my head. Some of you may be old enough to remember that movie. It was a good one. Oh, and I just noticed the license plate says 1981. So now I'm wondering if 1981 or the 80s is significant for someone watching. Anyway, I think the bigger message here is about the journey rather than everyone arriving at the same destination. There can still be companionship, connection, and enjoyment along the way. Okay, the next card we've got is number 28, and this is about the past, memories being precious treasures. Looking at this here, we've got 2 people on a bike traveling together. So again, we have this idea of 2 people sharing a journey. The first card gave a sense about how our destinations might be different, but that we can still enjoy the same journey. And I feel like we have a very similar message coming through here. It's less about where you're going and more about who you're sharing their journey with and being able to appreciate the moments along the way. I'm noticing the colors and the feeling of this card. Autumn may be a significant time for you. Maybe something happens around that time, or This might be bringing up memories from a particular autumn in your past. But again, I think the bigger message is really about enjoying the journey and appreciating the memories you create along the way. Sometimes we can be so focused on getting somewhere or waiting for the next thing to happen that we forget to appreciate where we are right now. With these two cards, this feels like a reminder to look back with appreciation rather than regret. There may be memories from your past that are coming back for a reason, not necessarily because you need to go back, but because those experiences are still meaningful to you. And maybe there's someone you shared part of your journey with who's no longer traveling in the same direction as you. That doesn't mean the journey you shared wasn't important. Some people are only meant to travel with us for a certain part of the journey, but the memories can stay with us. Okay, group 1, let's see what else is coming through for you for August. Let's see what the tarot cards have to say. Spirits, angels, guides, what messages do you have for group 1 for August? Oh, that's a bit too many cards, but we've got one flipped over, so we'll take that one. We've got the 7 of Swords. This is about strategy, keeping quiet, independent action. Keep wanting to fuss with these cards and line these up. That might mean something. Some of you might be feeling a little bit particular right now. Okay, let's see what else we get. We've got the 7 of Pentacles, patience, waiting for results, assessing progress. Okay, let's see what's next. Spirits, angels, guides, what messages do you have for group 1, please? Oh, I just noticed that this is supposed to be up here. All right. Okay, we've got the 6 of Pentacles. This represents giving and receiving, support, balance. Looking at these 3 cards together, and with the feeling of feeling quite particular about things, I'm getting the feeling of someone who's very observant, and this links with the 7 of Swords. You're looking at what's going on around you, noticing the details, maybe picking up on things that others might overlook. There can also be a bit of a let me figure this out for myself energy. With the 7 of Pentacles, this is more about stepping back and assessing. You've put in time or effort into something and now you're looking at it more closely, thinking, okay, how's this actually going? And with the 6 of Pentacles, that brings the idea of balance and fairness, what you're giving, what you're receiving, and whether things feel equal. I'm picking up on the energy of someone who may be a little bit more fussy or particular than usual, but not necessarily in a bad way. You may just be paying closer attention to things and noticing what works for you and what doesn't. And there could be a little bit of that feeling of noticing something afterwards, maybe realizing, oh, I didn't notice that before, or seeing something differently once you've had some time to think about it. Okay, let's see what the clarifying cards can add to this. I'm going to use a different deck to clarify these messages. All right, spirits, angels, guides, what clarifying messages do you have for group 1, please? Clarifying messages for group 1. Okay, we've got the King of Wands, confidence, taking charge, strong vision. We've got the Four of Pentacles, holding on, security, protecting resources. And finally, we've got the Sun, happiness, success, positive outcome. And at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Devil, which can represent addiction, unhealthy attachments. Overall, I feel like this is a month of figuring out what you really want, being patient with how things develop, and taking a closer look at what still feels right for you. You may be reflecting on the past and noticing things you hadn't noticed before, and reassessing where you put all your time and energy. There's also a sense of accepting that people can choose different paths while still appreciating the journey you've shared. Ultimately, this feels like moving toward more balance, clarity, and happiness. Okay, let's get into the specifics. At the beginning of the month, we have the Seven of Swords with the King of Wands. With the Seven of Swords, sometimes this can be interpreted as people being deceived or someone doing something behind your back, but I don't necessarily get that here. With the King of Wands clarifying it, this feels much more like being strategic and thinking carefully about your next move. And actually, this connects back to the message of our destinations might be different, but we can enjoy the same journey. Remember how we talked about the driver being very focused and determined while the passenger was much more relaxed? The Seven of Swords feels like that focused energy. You may have something in mind that you're working towards, but you are not necessarily telling everyone what you're doing. You're figuring things out for yourself and deciding what your next move should be. And then the King of Wands brings in confidence and taking charge. So maybe at the beginning of August, you're getting clearer about where you want to go, what you want to do, even if the people around you aren't necessarily on the same path. There may also be something about doing things your own way. You don't necessarily need everyone to understand your choices, but remember, your destinations can be different, and you can still enjoy the journey. For the middle of the month, we have the Seven of Pentacles clarified by the Four of Pentacles. This is about waiting, patience, and looking at what you've already invested and asking yourself, is this actually where I want to go? It's also about holding on, security, and protecting what you have. There could be something from the past that you're holding on to. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to let it go, though. The Four of Pentacles can actually be about recognizing that some things are valuable and worth protecting. But the Seven of Pentacles is asking you to take a step back and assess. Maybe you're looking at something you've invested a lot of time or energy into and wondering whether you want to continue investing in it. And this could be related to a job, a person, a relationship, or even a goal. The message isn't necessarily walk away. It's more like take a look at what you've built and decide whether it's still of value for you. And towards the end of the month, we have the Six of Pentacles clarified by the Sun, which is the happiest card in the deck. The Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving, getting support, generosity, and balance. And the Sun brings happiness, success, warmth, and a really positive outcome. This feels like things becoming much lighter, and I really like what happens towards the end of the month. The Six of Pentacles can also be about finally feeling like you're getting something back after giving so much. So if you've been putting effort into something, helping someone, waiting for someone to develop, or wondering whether your efforts are going anywhere, the end of August looks much more encouraging. And with the Sun, there's a sense of, okay, this is actually making me happy. And then underneath everything, we have the Devil. Because this was at the bottom of the deck, I see this more as underlying energy rather than the main message of the reading. The devil can point to attachment, temptation, patterns, or feeling stuck in something. And when I look across this whole reading, I wonder if there's something you're still holding on to beneath the surface. It could be a person, an outcome, an old pattern, a situation, or even the idea that things have to happen a certain way. You may be holding on to something because it feels familiar or because it has value to you, but the question is whether it's still helping you move forward. I don't necessarily feel like the message is you need to let this go. It's just being more aware of what you're attached to and if it's helping or limiting you. So maybe August is about realizing that you can appreciate the past without being stuck there. All right, my sunnies, that's all I have for you today. I hope this has helped in some way. If it has, please do like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I'm sending you much love and many blessings, and hope to see you again at the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, Group 2. Welcome to your reading. We're going to start by checking in on the overall energy for August, and then we'll get into your reading with the tarot cards. Okay, for the first card, the message here is every time beginning new things, tomorrow you are always a new you. Every time beginning new things, tomorrow you are always a new you. The wording feels a little off to me. I don't know if some of you are learning a new language or maybe there's some connection to another language or culture, but putting the wording aside, the message I'm getting from this card is really about trying new things and constantly reinventing yourself. I feel like this could be about someone who gets bored fairly easily. You try something new, you really get into it, you learn it, maybe even master it, and then you're ready for the next thing. And you can actually see that in this picture. It looks like you've stopped in the middle of painting because now you've decided to learn how to play the guitar. And then there seems to be photography, tennis. There's all these different things and interests going on. So I'm getting the energy of someone who likes to keep themselves busy and likes to learn new things. And maybe this month you're trying to figure out what's next for you. Some of you may have a lot of time on your hands. Maybe you're tinkering with this and that, trying different things, looking for something that grabs your attention. And this could even relate to work. I'm also getting the picture in my mind that this might be specific for someone. It feels like you're looking for a new job, scrolling through job postings and thinking, oh, I could do that. Then you see another posting and think, actually, I could probably do that too. There may be a lot of different things you're capable of doing, and I'm getting this jack of all trades feeling around this group. You may have picked up a lot of different skills throughout your life, but maybe you've never really known how to put it all together, or you've wondered whether having so many different interests is actually a strength. All right, for the next card, we have number 25, Mosaic. The message with this card refers to being complete and incomplete, that too much completeness can lose its mystery, while too little can lose its meaning. And that's the combination of different pieces that create something beautiful and unique. And I think that fits this reading really well. Maybe because you're looking at all these different pieces of yourself and wondering, what am I actually supposed to do with all of this? You have all these interests, experiences, skills, and things you've learned along the way. Maybe they don't seem to fit neatly into one picture, but that's actually what creates the mosaic. Each individual piece doesn't necessarily make sense on its own. It's when you put all the different pieces together that you start to see the bigger picture. Maybe you're someone who just needs variety. Maybe you're someone who learns through trying things, exploring, getting curious, and then moving on when you've learned what you needed to learn. And that's okay. For the rest of August, I feel like you could be in this exploratory phase, trying to figure out what interests you now, what you want to learn next, or even what direction you want your life to take. The picture might not be complete yet, but that doesn't mean the pieces don't belong. Okay, let's see what the tarot cards have to say. I'm going to have 3 sets of cards representing beginning of August, middle of August, and the end of August. Spirits, angels, guides, what messages do we have for group 2, please? Messages for group 2 for the month of August. Okay, we've got the 10 of Wands, burden, overwhelmed, carrying too much. Okay, let's see what we get next. Oh, we've got a bunch of cards. We can work with that. We've got the Page of Cups, new feelings, curiosity, emotional openness. Then we have the 6 of Pentacles, giving and receiving, support, balance. And together with the 6 of Pentacles, we've got 2 of Swords, indecision, crossroads, avoiding a choice. These 2 together, I'm getting a sense of trying to figure out what's fair and what feels balanced. There could be a choice around how much you give something or someone, especially if you're not sure what you're getting in return. Okay, I'm going to use a different tarot deck for the clarifying cards. Okay, spirits, angels, guides. Clarifying messages for group 2, please. Clarifying messages for group 2. Oh, we've got all 3 clarifying cards here. With the 10 of Wands, we've got the Knight of Pentacles, steady progress, reliability, slow and practical. With the Page of Cups, we've got the 9 of Cups, satisfaction, wish fulfillment, enjoyment. And then for the end of the month, the clarifying card is the King of Swords, clear thinking, truth, decisive action. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the 9 of Swords, worry, overthinking, mental stress. Overall sense I'm getting from these cards is that you may be carrying too much in your head and in your life right now. The 10 of Wands starts things off with a lot on your plate. So there could be a tendency to overthink things, worry about the future, or feel like you had to figure everything out at once. You don't need to have every answer right away. You may be trying different things, looking at different possibilities, or even considering different directions to take. But underneath that, there may be some anxiety about whether you're making the right choice. And I think the cards here are saying you don't necessarily need to rush that decision. Yes, you're exploring what's next, but you don't have to turn that exploration into another thing you have to worry about or carry. Okay, let's get into the specifics. At the beginning of the month, with the 10 of Wands and Knight of Pentacles, I think the message here is to slow down and deal with things one at a time. We talked about someone who likes to try new things, learning new skills, constantly looking for what's next. But maybe you've reached a point where you've taken on too much. You may have all these ideas, new job possibilities, new interests, things that you want to learn, but instead of feeling excited, it can start to feel overwhelming. The 9 of Pentacles says you don't have to do everything at once. Pick something and take it step by step. You might actually make more progress by being consistent with one thing rather than constantly jumping from one thing to another. By mid-August, with the Page of Cups and 9 of Cups, this is a really lovely combination. There's curiosity, new feelings, openness, and being willing to explore something simply because it interests you. You could discover a new hobby, reconnect with something you used to enjoy, meet someone interesting, or simply find something that makes you feel excited again. I think this is important because the beginning of the month felt quite heavy, And by middle month, there's much more of a why not feeling. Instead of asking, is this practical? Is this the right thing to do? Where's this going to lead? You might simply just be thinking, this looks fun. I want to try it. And that's exactly what you need. Toward the end of the month, we have the Six of Pentacles and Two of Swords, clarified by the King of Swords. I'm getting the sense that by the end of August, you're going to be looking at a situation and asking yourself, is this actually balanced? Am I getting as much as I'm giving? This could definitely connect to work or career, especially because of the message we got earlier about looking through job postings and wondering which roles you could fit into. Maybe you're considering different opportunities and trying to decide which one actually makes sense for you. The King of Swords says it's time to take the emotion out of it a little and look at the facts. What makes sense, what's fair, what's sustainable, and what actually works for you. And if you've been going back and forth about something, you may finally be able to make a clearer decision. Coming back to the bottom of the deck with the Nine of Swords, I think this is worth mentioning because it might actually be bigger in your head than it is in reality. You might be worrying about whether you're making the right choice, whether you're behind, whether you've wasted time, or whether all these different interests and skills are actually leading anywhere. But remember the Mosaic card. You don't have to see the whole picture yet. You have all these different pieces and you're still trying to figure out how they all fit together. So I think the rest of August is less about having one big answer and more about experimenting, enjoying what interests you, and gradually figuring out what fits. All right, my Sunnies, that's all I have for you today. I hope this has helped in some way. If it has, please do like, share, and subscribe if you feel like doing so. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope to see you again at the next one. Sending you lots of love and many blessings. Bye-bye. Hi Group 3, welcome to your reading. I'm going to start by checking in on the overall energy for August with these cards, and then we'll get into the tarot deck and see what comes through for you. Alright, so we have the message here. Please don't get mad if the paths we choose are different. So we have two people here who are clearly going down different paths. There could be a situation where you and another person are no longer choosing the same path. This could be a relationship, a friendship, or even just someone who has been an important part of your life. I'm getting a little bit of a breakup or separation feeling here. And what's interesting is that the two sides don't feel exactly the same. On one side, there's a dragonfly, which can be a symbol of transformation and change. So this person may be going through a lot of changes. They're becoming a different version of themselves, or they're realizing that they need to make some changes in their life. And then on the other side, I'm noticing the reflection of the woman's head looks almost like a heart. So I feel like there's still love on this person's mind. There may be feelings still here, even though the two people are choosing different paths. And then there's a bird flying over her, which gives me this feeling of freedom and a fresh start. So there's almost this contrast between still having love for someone and also knowing that you need to move forward. I'm also getting a sense of guilt around this situation. Maybe you're feeling guilty for changing, or the other person's feeling guilty for choosing a different path. There may be a feeling of, am I doing the right thing? Am I letting someone down? But I think the message here is that people change, and sometimes two people can care about each other and still realize that they're not meant to continue in the same direction. Okay, with this next card we have number 20, Delightful. I actually really like this card because it feels like a change in energy. The message here is discover happiness. And there's this idea of being carefree, having an iced bubble tea on a hot summer day. It's a simple message, not some huge life-changing event. It's just enjoying something because it feels good. I'm getting a sense there's a message about following your feelings here. Not every decision has to be made from a place of logic or obligation. Sometimes you can simply ask yourself, what would make me feel happy right now? And maybe that's part of your fresh start. The message in the first card was about different paths, change, and letting people choose what's right for them. And this second card feels like your reminder that your path can also include happiness. Okay, let's see what the tarot cards have to say. For the tarot cards, I'm going to be using 2 different decks and going to be getting 3 sets of cards representing the beginning and middle and end of August. Okay, spirits, angels, guides. Messages for group 3 for the month of August, please. Messages for group 3 for the month of August. Okay, we've got a few cards here. First, we have the Queen of Swords, clarity, boundaries, honest decisions. Then we have the King of Pentacles, stability, security, long-term success. Let's see what we get next. Messages for group 3, please. Messages for group 3 for August, for the month of August. Okay, we've got the Four of Swords, rest, recovery, quiet reflection. Okay, I'm going to use a different tarot deck to get clarifying cards. Spirits, angels, guides, clarifying messages for group 3, please, for the month of August. Clarifying messages for group 3, please. We've got a few cards here. We've got the Queen of Cups, emotional depth, compassion, intuition. And the Four of Wands, celebration, stability, feeling at home. Okay, final message, please. Final clarifying card for group 3, please. We've got a card flipped over. To clarify, we've got the Five of Cups, disappointment, grief, looking back. And at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Nine of Pentacles, independence, self-worth, enjoying your life. Seeing all these cards together, I feel like this reading is about moving from making a difficult or honest realization to finding stability and giving yourself space to heal and enjoy your own life. Okay, let's get into the details. At the beginning of the month, we have a really interesting combination because you have 2 queens and they represent 2 different sides of yourself. The Queen of Swords is clear, logical, and honest, and she can set boundaries and make decisions based on what she knows to be true. And the Queen of Cups is much more emotional. She's compassionate, intuitive, and very aware of her feelings. So I think the beginning of August may be about balancing your head and your heart, which connects directly with the first oracle card. If this is about a relationship or separation, you may still have feelings for someone while also knowing that something needs to change. You can love someone and still recognize you're not meant to continue on the same path. and you don't have to pretend you don't care in order to move forward. And I think that's what these two queens are showing. You can acknowledge your feelings with the Queen of Cups while still being honest with yourself with the Queen of Swords. Around the middle of August, we have the King of Pentacles clarified by the Four of Wands. This is really a stable combination. I'm getting the message of security, stability, having something solid beneath you while celebrating and feeling at home. So after an emotional and mental energy at the beginning of the month, things start to feel much more settled. This could relate to home, family, work, or relationships. You may be creating a stronger foundation for yourself. I like this combination of cards because it's not flashy happiness. It's more like, I'm okay, things feel good, I feel safe here. And finally, toward the end of August, we have the Four of Swords clarified by the Five of Cups. The Four of Swords is about rest, recovery, and taking some quiet time. And the Five of Cups can bring disappointment, sadness, or looking back at something that didn't work out the way you hoped. So this period kind of feels like processing the past. If you had a separation or were in a situation where you and someone else chose different paths, you may still have moments where you look back and feel sad about how things turned out. But the Four of Swords doesn't feel like you're being asked to fix it. It's more about giving your permission to rest and heal. Sometimes after you've been through something emotional, you can forget that you're allowed to enjoy yourself again. You don't have to keep replaying the past. You can have a quiet day, go somewhere you enjoy, do something fun, spend time with people who make you feel good. It's okay to give your mind a break. At the bottom of the deck, underneath everything, we have the Nine of Pentacles. I really like this as the underlying energy because it's about independence, self-worth, and enjoying the life you've created for yourself. And this really brings the whole message together. Sometimes happiness is simply feeling good in your own company and appreciating the life that's in front of you. So overall, Group 3, it feels like a month of becoming clearer about what you want, finding stability, and allowing yourself to process some disappointment and ultimately reconnect with your own happiness and independence. All right, my sunnies, that's all I have for you today. I hope this has helped in some way. If it has, please do like, share, and subscribe if you feel like doing so. I'd really appreciate it. Sending you lots of love and many blessings. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye-bye.